Greetings metalheads, George here from No Nonsense Metal Reviews, back again with another album you need to hear recommendation. Another quick review recommending an album. If you haven't come across this one before, you seriously must check it out. So today's recommendation is the 11th and most recent full-length album from Blitzkrieg, a self-titled album released in 2024. I remember when this album came out, I didn't hear it at the time. I only actually picked this up, I think, late 2025, towards the end of 2025. But I remember at the time it was generating a lot of noise. It was producing a lot of sound in the metal world, a lot of high praise, a lot of positivity, and it seemed to be very well received. For whatever reason, I think just the classic example of there's so much stuff out there to listen to, I just didn't get around to it. Came back to this album a while later, a year plus later, when I really decided I was going to give Blitzkrieg my attention. I thought this is a gap in my knowledge, really need to fill it. I had only really previously been familiar with one album, which was the previous album to the self-titled album entitled Judge Not, which I will say is a very good album. Released 2018, so quite a gap, 6 years between albums, but this is a very good album. Certainly very heavy. It's very heavy metal. And if I haven't mentioned already, probably should. Blitzkrieg is a heavy metal band. In fact, a NWOBHM, new wave of British heavy metal band. They were formed in 1980. First album was released in 1985. So I guess a little bit late to the new wave of British heavy metal party. But that said, they're a really good band. And I think actually Blitzkrieg is a criminally underrated band. So I've mentioned, been steadily trying to get into Blitzkrieg a little bit more, get familiar with their previous albums, I should say. Recently picked up this, which is a readily available, pretty cheap actually, compilation box set, Inferno, Complete Recordings Volume 1, 1980 to 1998. So more on that coming soon. But the album that you must hear, first of all, is this absolute stunner. This most recent album. I was absolutely blown away by just how freaking good this album is. Sounds fantastic. They've got clearly a very good band here, capable musicians that are clearly performing very well together, very solid lineup. Should actually mention, first of all, we don't have a very good sort of lineup shot of the band on this little booklet, our little insert, I should say. Frontman, vocalist, Brian Ross. Very good voice, actually. I think a bit of an underrated talent himself. He's got a bit of a Biff Byford thing going on there, but I think he does have his own sound, his own style. A little bit Rob Halford at times. You know, he's got a good, strong, heavy metal voice. I know that he's also the vocalist of Satan, another UK NWOBHM heavy metal band, a great band, in fact. And Brian has not been in the best of health lately, I don't believe. But, you know, wish you all the best, Brian, if that is the case. I think Satan had to cancel their US tour or something of that nature. But this album freaking kicks. Absolute backside. Kicks off with a great track, You Won't Take Me Alive, which is a ripping, heavy track. At times, this album is almost speed metal territory. I wouldn't say it crosses the threshold into thrash, not quite, but it is certainly ripping. Absolutely fantastic. We get some really good guitar work, killer rhythms, great leads. Drumming is really solid. I think mentioning drumming, that was the thing about Judge Not that was almost a little bit too far. The drums were so high and so loud in the mix, it was a bit overwhelming at times, but clearly nailed it with the self-titled album. And You Won't Take Me Alive is an absolutely stunning way to kick off the album. Brian, fantastic voice, actually. Really good voice. Killer riffs. speedy as you like. Then we've got The Spider, which is glorious, riffy, very catchy. Like a lot of this album, it's absolutely bristling with hooks. The Dragon's Eye is glorious. Almost got a little bit of kind of Dio vibe going on there as well. And I love it. A little bit kind of, I don't know why I'm thinking Dio, thinking Sabbath, but maybe it's because of the whole Dio was very fantasy orientated. Maybe that's it. But love it. Love it. Almost a little bit, dare I say it, US power metal leaning at times. Fantastic though. If I Told You, the fourth track on the album there, If I Told You, that is just pure heavy metal. And it has a very strong Saxon Dallas 1 p.m. vibe, which I'm sure is no coincidence, given that the song begins with that kind of rumbling, rolling bass line, and then the initial lyrics are about JFK and the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So I'm sure that's no coincidence there, but a great one. Again, full of hooks. Full of hooks. It's a proper priest stomping heavy metal number. Vertigo is a decent one. Above the Law is a great number as well. Again, it's got that real heavy metal to it, but it's got some really speedy, nice riffs in there. I Am His Voice, again, a heavier number, but it's just, I think if I could choose one word, almost a bit of a cop-out, but I'd say it's really catchy. It's really catchy stuff. One or two listens of this album, I was humming away to it. I had it stuck in my head. And actually, recently I have had the last couple of tracks going around in my head repeatedly. We do get The Night He Came Home, Halloween, which is, again, it's a great, solid heavy metal number. Some great vocal work in there, really catchy, killer riffs, killer drumming. But the real standouts are the instrumental of On Olympus High, which really does build. It really builds its atmosphere, really builds and sets the scene. And then we get Aphrodite's Kiss, which is so epic. I think epic is the only word for it. Catchy and epic. That works. Really good. Some of the best vocal work on the album. Some of the best guitar work. A really talented guitar duo feeding off each other there. We've got Nick Jennison and we've got Alan Ross on guitars. A very capable duo there. I should also mention the full band. We've got Liam Ferguson on bass and Matt Graham on drums. Killer. Absolutely love it. That epic closing track is the highlight for me. Absolutely glorious. And Brian delivers some incredible vocal work. Absolutely fantastic. So while I'm still working my way through, I should say, getting familiar with Blitzkrieg and their albums, this is certainly one that already I can strongly recommend as being a very good, very worthwhile checking out album. I love it. It's also got a great cover. Opening it up so you can see the full thing there. It's heavy metal, and you've also got the interesting kind of predator-like creature that has adorned some of the previous covers as well. Great name as well, Blitzkrieg. You know, it just sounds heavy metal. Sounds NWOBHM. Of course it is. And honestly, check this out. If I was to pick the crucial tracks, obviously I've given it enough praise on Olympus High. Absolutely fantastic. You must check that out. Through to Aphrodite's Kiss. So the intro on Olympus High with Aphrodite's Kiss. The opening track, You Won't Take Me Alive, is absolutely savage, thrashing at times. Let's just say speedy heavy metal. Love it though. And I'd probably say the second track, The Spider, because it's so catchy, so full of hooks, just sticks in your head instantly. So if you're looking for some NWOBHM, traditional heavy metal that's very fast and full of energy, then Blitzkrieg, the self-titled album from 2024, is an album you need to hear. If you're looking for something old school and alive, this is something to check out. It's also well worth checking out Judge Not. It's a very strong album. even if the drums are absolutely crushing your face. And then, yeah, like I say, you can pick up this awesome box set compiling the first 5 albums. I think we've got a live album, first 4 studios and a live album in there from Cherry Red Records. So if you're interested, it's out there. So my friends, check out Blitzkrieg if you haven't already. If you're already familiar, what are your thoughts on Blitzkrieg, the self-titled album, the band? What are your favorite Blitzkrieg albums, tracks? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one, of course. But thank you very much for watching, my friends. Hope you've enjoyed this humble review recommendation. Check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all the good, heavy things. Feel free to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. The support is greatly appreciated. Till next time, listen to Blitzkrieg and stay freaking heavy.